Good evening, everyone. It is now 6:15, and we're going to call our February monthly board meeting to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ms. Allen, can we have a roll call, please? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we do that, I just wanted to say Mr. Pena is unable to be here tonight. That's why I'm opening up the meeting. Okay, Ms. Allen.
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Here.
Ms. DePayne? Ms. Forrest?
Here.
Mr. Marazine?
Here.
Dr. Peck? Here. Mr. Pirro?
Here.
Ms. Ratner? Here. Ms. Sharma?
Here.
Mr. Tufano?
Yeah.
Mr. Zeichner?
Here.
We have a quorum. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Monroe Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published, an electronic notice provided by having the date, time, and place thereof posted January 14th, 2026 and February 11th, 2026 at all schools, on the district website, Home News Tribune, Cranberry Press, and filed with the clerk of the municipality.
Okay, I'm going to be reading our closed session resolution. Whereas the Senator Byron M. Bayer Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, provides that the Monroe Township Board of Education may hold an executive session from which the public is excluded to discuss matters that are confidential or are one of the 9 subject matters listed in Section 12B of the Act. And whereas the board hereby declares that its discussion of the following subjects will be made public at a time when the public's interest in disclosure is greater than any privacy or governmental interest being protected from disclosure. Now therefore be it resolved by the Monroe Township Board of Education that the board shall go into executive session to discuss the following items. Additional items may be determined and announced as needed. Pending or anticipated litigation and matters covered by the attorney-client privilege, matters involving employees in terms of their employment and contract, HIB investigation involving students. Be it further resolved that said discussion may be disclosed to the public when reasons for discussing and acting upon it in closed session no longer exist. Action may be taken on any of the items stated above. Do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Tufano, second by Ms. Ratner. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We should be back from closed session at around 7:15 p.m. Hello? Okay. It is now 7:15, so I would like to open the public portion of the meeting. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. First up, Public Board of Education meeting minutes for January 21st, 2026. Motion by Ms. Ratner. Second by Mr. Zeichner. Ms. Allen, can we have a roll call, or do we do all at once?
We can do it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The second item are the closed session meeting minutes for January 21st, 2026. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Tufano. Second by Mr. Pirro. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. All right, both were approved. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the student board members report. We only have one student board member this evening. Hello.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I apologize in advance for my voice. I'm currently recovering from a cold. But I'll begin with Barclay Brook. Barclay Brook hosted the Team USA Spirit Day on Friday, February 6th to honor former Barclay Brook student Breesh Norsbook, who competed for Team USA in snowboarding in this year's Winter Olympics. In celebration of the 100th day of school, Barclay Brook is hosting a school-wide Spirit Week this week. In addition to other themed days, students will be invited to dress as if they are 100 years old or wear a themed shirt on the 100th day of school tomorrow, February 19th. Barclay Brook's SEL committee organized a Valentine's Day card drive for soup for Rossmore seniors and residents at our local assisted living facilities with the hope that this small act of kindness will spread love, support, and compassion to many members of our community. Students colored pictures and wrote heartfelt notes to the residents. They collected hundreds of valentines, which were distributed to local senior citizens in Rossmore, as well as local assisted living facilities. And moving on to Brookside. Brookside held their school-wide spelling bee in February. Their school champion is fourth grader Agas Bindra. They also held a Team USA Day at Brookside on February 6th to honor the same former student participating in the Olympics. And to celebrate the 100th day of school, Brookside is having a Spirit Week from February 17th to February 20th, which includes a variety of classroom activities and dress-up days. Parent-teacher conferences are being held this week on today, February 18th, and tomorrow, February 19th. Marking period 2 report cards in grades 4 and 5 are available to parents on February 19th. For Mill Lake, the schools kicked off February with the fantastic Woodland Mill Lake PTO Book Fair, and this family night shopping event brought together so many families to celebrate the joy of reading. There is nothing better than seeing students so excited about books. The Super Bowl collection wrapped up on February 6th, and they are proud to say they are proud of the student council and the generosity of the Mill Lake community, service learning at its best. From February 9th to the 13th, their halls were filled with positivity during We Love Our School Spirit Week. The participation in Falcon Pride were contagious. We are looking forward to celebrating the 100th day of school on February 19th, a reminder of just how much growth and learning has taken place already. Later in the month, students will celebrate in dental visits on February 25th and the 26th to support student wellness. They'll close out February with the Kids Heart Challenge on February 27th, supporting the American Heart Association while promoting heart health and teamwork. As we move into March, they're especially excited to share their school-wide fairy tale theme, Dreams Do Come True, for Read Across America from March 2nd to the 9th. Our classrooms and hallways will be transformed as we bring stories to life across grade levels. On Tuesday, March 3rd, we are honored to welcome our Board of Education members, community readers, and Mayor Delina into our classrooms to read with students and celebrate literacy. On Wednesday, March 4th, Woodland students and the Jamesburg Elks will visit Mill Lake to read to the learners, continuing to strengthen the community partnerships and love for reading. The excitement continues with their evening of reading and a visit from the author Sue Flies later in the month. Mill Lake continues to shine through literacy, service, wellness, and strong community connections. For Woodland, the Title I Ready to Rise zero-period program in English Language Arts, Math, and STEM has begun. The Student Council sponsored several spirited events throughout the month, including themed Spirit Days celebrating Groundhog's Day, Valentine's Day, and President's Day. In addition, the Student Council coordinated a successful Super Bowl food drive fundraiser and a winter coat drive to support families in need. Beyond collecting donations, several Student Council members, along with their advisor, Mr. Dale, and chaperoned by their parents, volunteered at Rise in Heightstown, where they assisted in stocking shelves to support underprivileged families. Their service reflects Woodland's ongoing commitment to character development and civic responsibility. Mrs. Sidler hosted a Math Award celebration recognizing students for their outstanding dedication to logging over 3,000 minutes of IXL math. TNT Sports kicked off their winter session of after-school athletic programming. Students are participating in soccer, basketball, and tennis. Students from Monroe Township High School visited Woodland to engage in collaborative unified activity with the Unified and PAL students. To celebrate the kickoff of the Winter Olympics and to show support for the Monroe alum, students and staff proudly wore red, white, and blue. The PTO successfully coordinated a book fair for all students. This event not only fostered excitement around reading, but also helped students expand their home libraries and further develop a love for literacy. For Oak Tree, on February 12th, an hour of code night for the third grade students and their parents was hosted. On February 13th, the Falcon Fest school-wide pep rally and Kids Heart Challenge took place, raising over $14,000. The PTA school-wide Friday Frenzy, where each Friday the school participated in a themed day to raise funds for the annual field day events. On February 20th, the school will earn enough Falcon Feather tickets to reach the goal, so they are celebrating with a game day celebration day. On February 21st, the PTA Family Formal event will take place, and from March 2nd to the 6th, theme events for Read Across America will take place. In Applegarth had its second pep rally of the year on February 6th. Recipients of the Inclusive Award, one of their core values, were honored at the pep rally. On February 6th, they participated in a district-wide red, white, and blue say to support of Brianna's participation in the Winter Olympics. Conferences will be held this week and have been held this week on February 17th and today on February 18th. Applegarth has had 4 4-hour sessions on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday for the students. The school-wide spelling bee will take place on Friday, February 20th, and good luck to all participants. And the Robot Olympics will be held under the direction of their media specialists on February 24th and February 27th. And now moving on to the middle school. The middle school's spelling bee was held on February 11th, showcasing the exceptional talents of 21 outstanding spellers who successfully tackled a number of challenging words. And Akshara will advance to the Scripps Regional Spelling Bee, and they extend their warmest congratulations and best wishes for continued success. The Monroe Township Middle School Falcon and Purple Jazz ensembles were welcomed by excited seniors at Brookdale Senior Living on February 13th. The 2 ensembles performed an hour of live jazz music for the residents to great applause and appreciation. Last week, the Monroe Township Middle School administration held grade-level expectation assemblies with all students. This was an opportunity to compliment the students on what they are doing as well, but also a time to review school expectations both inside and outside of the classroom. Their students are doing a magnificent job this year. A huge congratulations to the MTMS Code Zero robotics teams for placing 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th out of 19 total teams at the Crusaders competition. And now 5 of those one team is a 3-time regional qualifier. And a special congratulations to the MTMS wrestler Taik Shama, who did an amazing job and won numerous tournaments, including the GMC champion and the Bi-County championship. Congratulations, Tarek. And moving on to the high school. The high school has officially opened the work-based learning program applications for the 2026 and 2027 school year. This program is available for juniors interested in internships and career experience and is wholly unique to the Monroe Township High School. All applications must be submitted by February 27th, which is coming up now. And additionally, the course scheduling process for next year is beginning for students in grades 8 through 11th. Parents are advised that choosing a course level higher than a teacher's recommendation will require a waiver and a commitment to stay in the class. In highlighting our students, national honors were our senior, Josephina Corona, who was awarded a $3,200 National Honor Society scholarship, one of only 24 recipients in the state of New Jersey. In athletics, the gold competition cheerleading team secured a first-place finish at the Mustang Mania competition. In swimming, Brandon Anand and Aiden Liu set new county records at the GMC championships. In arts and clubs, 6 students earned seats at the NJA All-States bands. In speech and debate, Arjun Kukari and Sahiti Pakiru took home state trophies, with Kulkuri qualifying for the National Tournament of Champions. Important reminders and deadlines. Students are reminded that parking on campus without permission will result in a loss of parking privileges during their senior year, and this is being taken seriously. And finally, the school is proud to celebrate Black History Month throughout the month of February, recognizing the contributions and history of the Black community in Monroe and America. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patel, for your very detailed reports. We always love hearing about what's happening at all of our schools, and you sounded great. Yeah, no worries. You did a great job. Okay, the next item on our agenda are the committee reports. Is there any committee person wishing to share the report? Mr. Piro?
We'll start out. We had the BG&T committee meeting on February 12th. Present was myself, Ms. Alvarez, Mr. Marzine, Mr. Payne, Dr. Lehman, Zach Maralda, Dr. Kevin Higgins, Mr. Dave Tassine, and Ms. Donna Martyr. And our guest was Rich Alderiso from the DI Group Architecture. So first off, we went over the ESEP projects. Committee members reviewed a weekly update provided by Honeywell, which highlights completion of the LED lighting upgrade. The The lighting contractors are now 100% complete in Barclay Brook, Brookside, Mill Lake, Woodland, Oak Tree, the Field House, and the high school, and transportation and the administration building. MTV also has a full crew working on the middle school second shift, boilers and pumps, and they are now operational. Barclay Brook boilers and pumps are now also operational, and work is progressing with these. The Applegarth Rod Grant, we revised at EACM. The contractor there continues working second shift, finishing the ductwork, painting, spackling, and adjusting set points. The demolition removal of the existing boilers at Applegarth School will be in the coming weeks. We spoke, we had a presentation from Rich Alderiso of DI Group. Administration presented the final revised proposal prepared by an architect on record. Committee members reviewed and discussed project purpose study overview. Information was analyzed for the following buildings. An addition on Oak Tree, redoing the annex at Mill Lake School to upgrade it, and an addition at Barclay Brook. All the committee agreed on the final proposal, which was presented. I'll let Dr. Lehman speak on that after I finish these couple other things. They want to convert also the high school team meeting rooms to Gen Ed classrooms. So in the high school, over by the gym, there's 2 rooms that are basically used after school. They're called meeting rooms. They have benches and whiteboards, and the teams use them before like a game or practice. They use it for training. What they want to do is we want to convert these to a regular classroom. This way, during the day, we would be able to use these for health, phys ed, whatever classes we need to put in there, but they would still be there at night for the team rooms. The only real difference is they won't have benches. They'll have desks and everything else. So we spoke about that, and the committee was all in agreement to do that. And also, they are doing bidding for the HVAC at Barclay Brook School. It's going out to bid on the project. The bid opening should be on May 5th, and the recommendation should come to us by March 5th, and the recommendation should come by March 16th. The existing HVAC control system is from 1999 and beyond its usable life. This project will be fully funded via the state capital needs grant, so this will come out of a grant to do this. Then we went to transportation. Administration gave us an overview of bus operations, driver staffing, contractor routes. They spoke briefly about they're still working the kinks out of the bus app, which we launched in the pilot program, and they talked about training for bus drivers, and we also spoke about inclement weather and bus stops and things to that nature. And also with the bus app, the team is going to test the app with the middle school also, to also provide feedback from older students. That pretty much is what happened. If Mr. Lehman would just like to talk on the kindergarten.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that basically, and we'll post it on the web if it's not already there, so the public has access to it. It's information that we can now use to have accurate numbers when we look to seek support for funding for the construction project related to our long-term permanent solution for full-day K. So it's information for us. They did it in the context of preparing a project timeline for a referendum. It's not something that's on the table for us right now, but it's something that we can use as information. The plan itself won't change. We can update it in the future if we need to in terms of costs and things like that, but we have a solid number for the next several years as a starting point for funding advocacy.
Yes, Mr.
Does anybody have questions or comments? Mr. Tefano?
I have 2 questions. My first question is, how much was that capital improvement grant? Do we know the amount, the dollar amount?
I don't know the exact dollar amount. I don't have it in front of me. I can find out from Mr. Teague.
Then my
Ms. Allen has the number for you.
Yeah, so that's actually from the state aid, the additional state aid that we received, the
Right.
$500,000.
$500,000.
So we're only using a portion of that for this particular
Is that where it's coming from?
purpose.
Okay.
And do we know what the other portion is being used?
Part of it was for the design study that we
kindergarten?
just spoke about. Yeah, and then any other needs basically related to the HVAC controls, the controls at the school.
My second question is, you said you had discussed the inclement weather and stuff like that. Did anybody contact the township and ask them to make sure that they clear snow, an extra special effort put into clearing snow where our children are being dropped off at bus stops? Did anybody speak to that?
We advised transportation that if they seen an issue on the road, they should notify whoever needs to be notified, whether it's sidewalk, streets, whatever. If they see an issue, then they need to notify whatever agency should handle that, whether it be the police.
But that was discussed?
Zoning, or, yes,
It
we
was.
talked to them about, yes.
And was there a resolution, or did
We
we?
said that they were gonna,
So when we receive information about something like that, we communicate to the road department, communicate to the township, and they have in the past worked with us and would in the future, I'm sure.
Well, you said they will. Did they confirm that they will? Are they going to
They
spend?
they
a
have
little
worked
bit
with us,
extra
I'm
time?
telling you that they have worked with us just recently in the past of clearing a street that we had an issue with.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Ms. Ratner?
Yeah, I just had a follow-up about the kindergarten discussion. I wanted to, I guess, get more information as, from what I understand, this is just sort of giving us the numbers of what they suggested that we would need, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we need to utilize that company for what we're going to do moving forward, or?
So this company provided us the roadmap to the project. So it's everything from soft costs, hard costs. If we were to take this through fruition, everything would go out to bid and things like that. But these are estimates regardless of the company you use.
Okay, and then just, because I had the opportunity to look at the attachment from the meeting, the timeline that they gave in order for us to put this, if we were looking to put it on potentially a November 2026 ballot, which is something like when we were discussing the strategic plan, had been brought up as a possibility, said that we would need to have a board resolution prepared in March or April. I know, we also have to get budget numbers from the state, so I know everything is tight, but I guess knowing all the work that has to be done before that, how would we finalize that in order to have it there in turn
So
for that
so remember,
meeting?
we had two paths, right? We have implemented in our current facilities, and then the second path is this path, which represents the construction project related to creating more space, right? So the path that we're heading down right now is integrating it into our current budget and implementing it next year. At this point, it's not my recommendation to take this to a referendum for November. If we were heading down that path with this document, we would be accelerating that and making recommendations and moves starting next month in order to get, begin the state approvals, begin the processing of everything, and get the ball rolling.
And then just because of that, I know there were also other programs that were suggested to combine into this if we were to move forward. Are those projects, I know we had at one point, not in this proposal, talked about the high school bleachers. I also know the HVAC system at, I believe it's at Mill Lake, is potentially being included with this if we move forward. Are those, that specifically more, is that something that it's not an urgent need?
So when it comes time to talk about what a referenda could potentially look like, then everything could be on the table. We did discuss at the meeting that it would make sense when we started to do the work at Mill Lake to integrate the roof and the HVAC project together, because we're working on that on the other, in the annex side of the building. So that would be, in my mind, a natural connection. And then moving forward with a bond referendum at some point, further discussion on what else could be included certainly, would take place.
Any other comments or questions for Mr. Pirro? Okay, seeing none. Mr. Zeichner, you had your hand up. You want to give your report?
We met, the curriculum personnel meeting was held on Thursday, February 12th at 5 p.m. Presents were Dr. Lehman, myself, Gail DePayne, Carmen Alvarez, Dr. Amanda Peck, Kate Ratner, got it right this time, Sue Gasco, Danielle Drust, Dr. Kelly Roselle, Steve Barandica, and Zach Moretta, Samantha McLeod, Jen Roldan, and Marietta Ruella, Salvatore Angona, and Jim Cernaski. Mr. Barandica introduced the NFL Youth Flag Football Grant, which was $2,500. He discussed the grant, explained how it would be implemented within our summer sports program. He outlined its relationship with our nutrition program and identified the grade levels involved. He also noted that the program would be tuition-free and open to all students. Dr. Roselle introduced the MTSS, which stands for Multi-Tiered System of Support, it's the 21st Century Career Technology Program pilot. She explained how the new software would integrate with our current assessment tools and serve as an additional diagnostic tool. She also demonstrated its relevance in the middle school. The cost would be $595 and include 500 licenses, which was just blew me away. I got to tell you, that is cheap. Mr. Morata introduced and reviewed the Monroe Township High School and Middle School elective updates for the September school year. He outlined the classes being offered and those being renamed. He also identified the competencies being integrated into the courses and explained the rationale for continuing to modify the course offerings. He also noted that the new AP courses would be offered at the high school. Throughout the presentations, the three presenters answered questions, and the meeting ended at 5:28 p.m. Additional information is available in the curriculum video meeting for February 12th, located on the Monroe website, which is at monroe@k12.nj.us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zeichner. Any questions or comments? Ms. Ratner?
Yep, just I wanted to commend the student who looked for the grant. That's, fantastic. And so the kudos to that student for going above and beyond and trying to find ways to bring a program here.
Anyone else wishing to give a committee report? Ms. Ratner?
Okay, I have two. The first is for the Legislative Advocacy and Community Engagement Committee. We met on February 12th. Board of Education members present were myself, Ms. Forst, Ms. Sharma, and Ms. DePayne. The district administration was represented by Dr. Lehman and Mr. Maralda. We reviewed the district's advocacy page, which has received over 4,000 views. Based on feedback, we discussed revising our letter to include more specific financial data that would be relevant for full-day kindergarten. In addition, Ms. DePayne shared some feedback from the NJSBA, the school board meetings that she had attended with Senator Gopal and Dan Harris, who is the chief of staff for Craig Coughlin. Cool. That emphasized the importance of in-person meetings with legislators, as well as face-to-face conversations. They will have more impact than sending letters or emails, even if they're individualized. So we discussed trying to find a way to do that, and we also discussed reviewing the advocacy calendar to track some of the deadlines and ensure that we continue moving forward and making progress during the year. Then we discussed reconvening our Citizens Advisory Committee in March. This way we can share and discuss some of the things that are happening, such as the budget process, as well as updates on full-day kindergarten, and if there is any discussion about referendum, perhaps that, as well as summer programs. We reviewed a few legislative updates, which included a bill that has moved forward from one of the committees related to sharing pilot revenue with school districts, which is something that we sort of discussed at length, but would love to find out more about how some of the other townships have been successful doing this, as well as a bill with proposed requirements for mercury-free school flooring materials. And then finally, we had discussed strengthening our community engagement through informal events to share information and hear concerns throughout the year. So that way we are, not always just going out there when we want to ask for something, but also making it more of a two-way relationship in the community.
Any comments or questions for Ms. Ratner? No. Do you want to do your next one?
Sure. You're going to laugh at me because I actually have a question for myself. But so the next one is the Policy Committee, which met on February 12th. The board members were myself, Ms. Force, Mr. Marazine, and Ms. DePayne. The district administration was represented by Dr. Lehman. Our meeting was primarily dictated by the policy wellness check provided by Strauss Esme. First, we reviewed a new career and technical education policy. Our district we offer these pathways for students that are in grades 9 to 12. We also provide access to the county vocational and magnet schools for programs that we are unable to offer here. We learned that the school counselors, as well as those subject teachers, share this information, especially during scheduling time, to ensure that students understand their options. And we discussed looking into ensuring that communication is also going home and being shared with all students, even if they're not necessarily in those courses. This policy basically just covers all of that, and it's up for a first reading tonight. There are also several policies that are up for a first reading tonight that had very, very small changes, essentially like changing the title name or adding an M for mandatory. These are on our agenda for a first read as well. Essentially, we reviewed all of the 2000s, which are for programming. In addition, there is a resolution on the agenda that will allow the administration going forward to add the mandatory M to our policies where that's the only change required. Finally, there's one policy and regulation tonight for a second and final reading, which is 1522, sexual harassment for staff, as well as one policy on the agenda for abolishment, which was the suggestion of Strauss Esme for special education receiving schools, because we don't allow out-of-district students into our schools for services. I did just want to get the clarification with the resolution. Is that only policies, or is it policies and regulations? I wasn't sure if any of the regulations are mandatory and if it's included for that.
So your question is the work we did, where there's a regulation, the regulation is to be adopted tonight as well. So if it was a mandatory M next to it, then we will have the corresponding regulation. Does that answer your question?
No, for the resolution only says policies. So I didn't just know if we should
so
add...
policies are what are mandated, regulations are
None
not
of those are
mandated.
ever mandated.
No.
Okay, that's just what I wanted clarification on. Thanks.
Anyone else with questions or comments for Ms. Ratner? Okay, I'm going to be reading the Finance Committee report. Okay, the Finance Committee held its monthly meeting on February 12th to review final matters, discuss asset management items, and receive an update on the 2026-2027 budget calendar. The food service director successfully sold 4 pieces of unused equipment through an online bidding platform. The sales generated $7,200 in revenue. These funds will be returned to the food service account within the district's financial structure. Administration requested approval to sell 6 buses through govdeals.com. The vehicles include 4 54-passenger buses and 2 25-passenger buses that have reached their 10-year replacement mark under the district's established fleet cycle. Committee members noted that prior bus sales through GovDeals produced favorable financial results. The district follows a structured repayment cycle like other departments, ensuring buses are replaced at appropriate intervals while maintaining backup vehicles for reliability. Looking ahead, the Transportation Department has requested 2 to 3 new buses for the 2026-2027 school year. These purchases would be structured under a 5-year lease purchase agreement. No new buses were purchased during the current fiscal year, making the upcoming replacements timely and necessary to maintain the fleet cycle. Lastly, the committee reviewed an important update regarding the 2026-2027 budget timeline. A proposed state measure may extend the governor's budget address to March 10th, which would delay the release of state aid figures until approximately March 12th. The district's budget presentation is currently scheduled for March 16th, with final submission to the county due March 19th. This potential shift would create an extremely compressed timeline to incorporate state aid numbers, finalize documents, and make any necessary adjustments. Members expressed concerns that while the governor's address may be extended by 2 weeks, other statutory deadlines may not shift accordingly. With rising costs and already tight budgets, any reduction in state aid would present additional challenges. Administration indicated they would continue monitoring developments and keep the board and the public informed. This concludes my report. Any questions or comments? No?
Ms. Allen, do you want to highlight what's on the agenda with respect to that?
Sure. Yes. So being that we have not received official notification yet regarding the governor's budget address and the delay, but we have been advised that we should anticipate that there will be a delay, a 2-week delay. So we would like to propose to change, at this point, to change the budget presentation meeting to that Wednesday instead of the Monday, so 2 days later at this point until we hear from the state. And then, because the following day it would be due at this point to the county. So once we get, if we should get word from the state, in fact, we just got a notification today from the county that they are, they will let us know as soon as they receive word, because everybody's asking them, all the school districts are asking them for this information. So we would at that point like to extend, change the board meeting date until the following Wednesday, the 25th, I believe it is, giving us a little bit of time, a little bit extra time, because we're really basically losing about 18 days to prepare the budget. In the past, 8 years ago when we had a new governor, it was a similar situation, and they did extend the state aid by 2 weeks, the governor's address and state aid. So we did accordingly adjust our budget calendar. I think we were only given 9 days because the county, I believe, only gave us a 9-day extension for them to receive our finalized budget. So that is on the my report tonight to ask for approval to extend, at this point, have the anticipated budget meeting date on that Wednesday, and then likely it will be changed again.
I believe it's March 18th.
Okay, you're
Right.
probably right. I don't have, yes, I think you're probably right. Yeah,
Ms. Allen, can I just,
yes,
Yes.
a quick follow-up?
yes.
I don't envy you guys having to deal with the tight deadlines. So I guess there's 2 questions. The first is, with assuming like everything would be fine with that budget hearing, but I know that's obviously cutting it pretty close. If there were any concerns that are brought up, but from what I remember, then like changes can be made after that initial budget hearing. It's if there was anything that is a concern for board members, especially because I know we're discussing some potentially big programs. So assuming like that would still be a potential way to go if there were concerns that were brought up.
Yeah, and like Ms. Alvarez said, hopefully, we don't know if all the dates are going to be extended, but hopefully they will follow suit.
Right, I didn't know if that there was going to be like that domino
yeah.
effect, so like the April meeting may be pushed down further as
Yeah.
well.
So we'll have to see, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the public forum for agenda items only. Members of the public wishing to speak can come up to the podium. You will have 4 minutes. You can ask your questions at the beginning or throughout, but the clock does not stop for the 4-minute period. So any members of the public wishing to speak on agenda items only.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't want to come back so soon, but it's always a pleasure to see you all. I was hoping to stay a little later before I came back into this, but it's easier being here. Before I use my time for the main reason I came today, I want to quickly comment on the committee reports specific to the kindergarten discussion, and my recommendations are for the Finance Committee. I know we just had a 10-minute meeting this week. I had been asking for this when I was on the board, that we need to see the finance implications on the budget of starting full-day kindergarten in September. I know when I started asking, it was too early, but now is a time that the board members who are going to, biggest part of our responsibility is the budget, have a great idea, a good, solid idea of what's giving and taking in our penny pinch tight budget to allow for a full day kindergarten. So if the Finance Committee could have a discussion on it in the month of March, it'll be greatly appreciated. Also, one of the asks, and this is related to BG&T update on the LED lighting, which was part of the ESIP project. I had been asking to see the savings, because a ESIP project is based off of our savings. We're going to pay for it, not out of our operational budgets, but from the savings. So we did realize this project in phases, but some of those schools have had full LED lighting for a few months now, almost 6 months. So I would like the Finance Committee to start seeing the savings in the bills and discussing that openly in public. So if you could, that would be greatly appreciated. The reason I'm here today is I've always said that people don't need to come here. The easier way is to email the board members. Email your concerns to the board members, to the administration, and you'll hear back. The calendar was shared in the agenda, and when I saw that, I emailed the entire board yesterday and Dr. Lehman with my concerns. I only heard back from Ms. Ratner and Mr. Marazine, thank you. I did not hear back from the board president. I hope Ms. Payne is doing fine. She's doing well. I did hear back from Dr. Lehman, but that was just a thank you. So I'm here today because it's on the agenda, and you guys are going to be voting on it, and I wanted to make my concerns heard before you took a vote on it, because I haven't heard or seen any changes since I shared my concerns. The first concern is, well, let me start by praising the new format. It is excellent, one page, looks great, so kudos for that change. And I know it was possible because we could take out the weekends from our calendar, but November 8th, Sunday is Diwali, and May 16th, Sunday, if I have my days right, is Eid al-Adha. These are two holidays that on my term on the board, I advocated for. Diwali for a few years before it became a permanent part of our calendar, and Eid al-Adha, the whole Muslim community has been advocating for it. And I believe they sent an email in January with the dates to Dr. Lehman, and in that email they also noted that if the day it falls on a weekend, please make sure you note it on the calendar. And the importance of that is that the community awareness aspect is critical. If the teachers know that there's a major holiday on a Sunday before, they will not plan a test the next day. And they will go easy with the students if they've been celebrating a major holiday the Sunday before. My ask in the email was that legend in the middle of that calendar needs to include November 8th and May 16th as major holidays that are celebrated by a huge demographic of our student body and even staff members. Yom Kippur is not mentioned in the calendar. It says it's a holiday on September 21st, but it doesn't say Yom Kippur. It's important to mention what the holiday is. I'll come back in the second forum. Thank you.
Dr. Lehman, did you want to?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Poor, for your comment, and that is something that I am going to add to the calendar, because we did hear your feedback. I heard feedback from some of the other community members, so that was going to be one of the recommended changes that I had when we got to that part of the vote, because we did leave off Yom Kippur, we did leave off Diwali, we did leave off the other Eid, and I believe there's another date too that I wanted to add in there. So yes.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Good evening, Chrissy Skirby, Monroe Township. I think the other date was Columbus Day. I don't think that was marked as Columbus Day. It's a day off, but I don't think it said Columbus Day on the calendar.
Yeah, there's a few.
But
Yep.
speaking of the calendar, to piggyback of what my former board vice president, who served an exceptional term and advocated for our students in our community the entire time she was on the board, brought up, my question, I guess, to you is, Dr. Lehman, when Dr. Chanley took over as superintendent, she went back through the calendar and she came up with educational reasons why she wanted to make some changes. One of the biggest changes that she made, which was implemented for the entire time she was superintendent, I think she did 3 calendars, perhaps maybe 4, I think it was 3, was the November week off. And she had educational data that she had and reasons why Monday and Wednesday should be a day off. I was board president. I know that we sat in meetings, and I thought that you were on board with that rationale. And I'm wondering what has changed this year now that she has been put off on, she's sitting on administrative leave. That week has been customary to have off. There are educational reasons for it, and I'm wondering why the change was. Now, I do know when I was board president that the now vice president argued every year that she worked in Elizabeth and they didn't have off, so therefore she felt Monroe shouldn't have off. And I'm wondering if you were pressured by the board to change that this year, because we saw what happens when the board does pressure the superintendent and they don't back down. Another thing, starting school before Labor Day, going later than we ever have in Monroe to June 25th. These are all concerns, and you can see it blew up on social media. There is a lot of concern for going back before Labor Day and for putting in 3 snow days. That was another thing that Dr. Chanley did. She reviewed prior year's weather reports when we had snow days, and there was one year we built 0 snow days in so that we didn't have to go back before Labor Day. And for the last few years, we've built 1 day in. We're now building in 3 days. If we don't build in 3 days, if we build in 2 days and keep 1 day, we could go back after Labor Day. Or we could have the 2 days off in November. Or we could take 2 days off the end of the year. Another thing that Dr. Chanley implemented was making some of the holidays a half day, because she explained to the Board of Education and the community several times each year when the calendar came up that a lot of times our students have no idea why we're celebrating these holidays. And by having a half a day on these holidays, one of them being Veterans Day, the schools are allowed to host programs. And I know a lot of our elementary schools would bring veterans in and do an assembly to teach the children why it actually is a holiday. And then they had the rest of the day to go home and celebrate if they chose to. And that allowed us to have more days, because a half day counts as a full day. And then we were able to do that as a half a day instead of a full day off, and then either go back later in September. There were times where we needed to have January 2nd off. When it came, there was a time the January 2nd fell on a Friday. We didn't want to have the staff and the students come back on a Friday and then have Saturday and Sunday off. So she works around those things. I'm wondering how in the world this is on the agenda to go back before Labor Day, be in school later than we ever have, and not have the November holiday, the 2 days in November off. This board is really, I have no words for what you've done this year. It's really outstanding.
Can I address the calendar comments after some more calendar feedback?
Yes,
and
of
I'll
course.
just go through it all.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Hello, hi, my name is Ganesh Masla, address 283 Morning Glory Drive. So I want to reiterate again what Ghazala has said, that for Diwali, I just want to reiterate that, you know what, we also as a Hindu festival, we want, because a lot of people celebrate during the night, and then it's easy if we have the holiday the next day, at least that will be considered, okay? And also, I want to know like why there was changes to the September, like the Labor Day thing, right? Because usually that's what I have taken. It's been 10 years here. I have been in Monroe. Usually we plan our vacation just after like Labor Day. That's how we do it. In fact, I'll be traveling also just before Labor Day. So I just want to look why the decision was made, and if that is because of any budget concerns or something. I just want to know about from the board. Okay. Also, like some people were telling I heard from the social media that November also usually like the first week you have the school, I don't know, it's an education week where you have holidays for the students. I don't know if that has been updated also. Consider that and have that updated. And I don't know if I couldn't find the agenda for Dr. Chanley, right? I know like I've been speaking to the board, I think few months ago on the reinstatement of Dr. Chanley. I just
this
want,
is
so I'll talk to that on the board agenda. All right, thank you, afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Lucille Panos, Monroe Township. I guess with the buildings and grounds, there was some report about what to do with the kindergartens or what might be needed. Okay, so that was, I don't know, you paid for that report, I imagine, and it would project how much possibly it could cost. Well, and then you're waiting for the state budget, or you might put it up for referendum. First of all, whatever they say now, you keep on kicking the can down the road, and those costs are going to increase. As far as a referendum, as far as waiting, putting forth a referendum, referendums aren't mandated for school budget, to implement full-day kindergarten. So here you live in Monroe Township with the senior community, more seniors, that referendum always gets voted down. Did you ever pass a referendum in Monroe because of all the seniors? Guess what? You're not here for the seniors. You're here for the kids. So if you don't need a referendum, you make that decision. You make sure that these kids, the only town in Middlesex County that does not have full-day kindergarten. That's embarrassing. I'm a senior. I don't have kids in school. My children, they went to a private high school, and I paid taxes all these years, so what? You know what? That's what our job is, isn't it? To make sure our children get the best that we could give them. So, folks, don't wait for a referendum. Don't keep on kicking the can down the road. So until it's mandated in 2029 or 2030, do it. Do it next September. You know what's it going to cost? By the way, you have a superintendent who's on paid leave. How much does that cost? Is she home? What is she doing? How much? There's a superintendent.
This is for agenda items only, this public forum.
Okay, so as part of finance, in your finance, how much is this superintendent getting paid? Without working. I love that kind of job.
This is a personnel question.
Oh, come on. Really? That's kind of weak. I don't know who you are, but meanwhile, okay, so you know what? There's obviously some personal issues here. Don't do the referendum. Get those kids in full-day kindergarten next September coming up. If you don't, you should be embarrassed. The only town in Middlesex County that doesn't have it. Thank you.
Dr. Lehman, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'll do two
Kindergarten
things.
piece.
I'll follow up on the calendar piece, but before I do that, just to clarify the kindergarten piece, the plan is, the goal is to integrate it into next year's budget. No referendum needed, and house the students in our current space. What BG&T committee spoke about in the report that was done is providing us information for a long-term solution. Currently in our buildings, we've historically been overcrowded. We've reclaimed spaces in our libraries, our art rooms, behind stages for classrooms. So we would implement full-day K next year with our current layout. This plan that was developed would restore our buildings back to art rooms as art rooms, music rooms as music rooms, stages as stages, the library as library. It would also provide us the space for growth related to those projects. So the goal is no referendum for next year.
I'm sorry, ma'am, you can only come up once during each forum. There's another one at the end of the meeting. I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm sorry, ma'am.
Thank you. Regarding the calendar, just a few highlights. I'm going to pull up my notes here. So in terms of one of the challenges we ran into this year, we haven't had this in probably 10 or 12 years, is Easter and Passover are separate. So typically they're associated with the same spring break. That was one of the challenges we ran into. When I looked at looking back at developing and including 3 snow days, to me, that's a responsible action to take because we have information about when we had to bring students in on President's Day in 2024. It was actually February 19th. We had about 87% of our students on site, which means 13% of them were out. That's dramatically larger absenteeism rate. Our absenteeism rate is typically anywhere between 97, 98, 99%, depends on your school. So you're looking at a difference of probably 700 to 800, almost 1,000 students. And that's just an unplanned, reclamation of a day. Additionally, we had 219 staff members out on that day. That is an abnormally large number of staff missing. And we already are doing, on a normal day, on occasion, we're running double or triple runs if we have, absenteeisms in transportation. So my concern, just looking forward, is trying to be proactive with the inclusion of the additional snow days. In terms of some of the other times, we're really just looking at, and again, it was something I want to include, those November 8th Diwali Day, the Yom Kippur, we'll note that on there, the Eid, we will note on there. In terms of the full days, I received feedback from the community, parents in particular, that were concerned with the number of half days and trying to arrange coverage. On the flip side, I got suggestions from other community members and or some staff members that said, hey, can we convert some of the full days off to half days? We can reclaim some of these other days. So I feel like for every comment I got on one side, I got a comment on the other side. This is probably one of the more controversial and or difficult undertakings. I know I would imagine not just our district, but most districts do, in terms of trying to find a happy medium. It definitely is a different philosophy, and it's no shot at the person who was involved in making the calendar before. We certainly have not needed those extra snow days in the past. I'm concerned right now, looking at Sunday into Monday's weather, that we're already going to be talking about potentially, and again, that may not come through, but it's on my radar already, that we'll be starting to draw from spring break. So it's on the back of my mind right now, and it would, just from my perspective, it's a responsible action to take in terms of being proactive, because we have information that when the days are scheduled, the kids attend. When we have to reclaim an unscheduled day, there's definitely a lower attendance rate. So that's, in terms of just information, that's guiding my decision. You may agree or disagree, right? And everyone has a different perspective, but it wasn't done out of haphazard or an change, because I didn't believe in I was a part of the calendar development for the past 6 years. I've been sitting in this central office role. So certainly my input has been respected and or considered throughout the process. I did look back at, before we were taking the weeks off, there were weeks that actually we were in on Election Day, so I looked at that data, but then I also looked at a few years where we were in on the Monday and the Wednesday. And again, our attendance rate is definitely not where it is when we have those unscheduled reclaimed days as it is when we have the scheduled days. So I don't want you to feel like the decisions were haphazard, the decisions were random, or they were just change for the sake of change. It was trying to be proactive, trying to think of the students in terms of them being in school, them being here on the days that are planned in advance. And when you add in those extra snow days, it certainly does stretch out the length of the calendar, and that's why it looks like we're starting a little early. Although Labor Day is extremely late this year, right? That's another factor. And then we have the locked-in graduation date now for June 25th. So it doesn't answer all of your questions, but I just want you to feel like I wasn't pressured to make the changes. I looked at it with a blank slate, and I used information to make some decisions. So again, you may disagree with it, and again, I apologize for leaving those days off. We did work with our community to make sure the dates that we're recognizing are accurate, because sometimes we find multiple dates that could potentially be recognized. So we did leverage our community connections there, and we did notice one of the school times was transposed, so we'll also adjust. So Woodland School says 3:29 instead of 2:39, so those two were transposed. Again, there were a lot of eyes on this. It definitely is a different presentation as well. We got feedback about colors. When you photocopy this, there certainly could be some confusion, so what we what we will do is our intent is to have multiple versions of the calendar, whether you want to print a big one out, you want to do a horizontal one, so we can tweak, maybe put different symbols that represent different days, so that way if you photocopy it, you certainly can kind of cross-reference things. But I don't want you to feel like, and anyone who gave me feedback that, this was done haphazardly or done, without thought. And again, it was conferred with, multiple stakeholders. And again, I think whether we approve this, I change it, we approve the changed one, it's going to swing the pendulum that someone else is going to be irritated or have other opinions. And again, from our initial district perspective, this was something that met the students' needs. And again, I'm open for feedback. I always am open for feedback. My ears are open. I respond. So it's certainly something that, this wasn't, again, haphazard or random.
Thank you, Dr. Lehman, for that detailed explanation. Mr. Stefano, can your question wait till we go right to vote on the calendar, or do you need, yes?
Well, I'd like to ask him now, because depending on his answer, I'd make a motion to delay that vote. So I think it's imperative I ask him now. So you mentioned that we're going to have a large spike in absenteeism. When my kids were in school, I personally took a timeshare out for the week of Labor Day. How many parents do you think are going to reschedule their whole vacation plans when the kids have to come back on Labor Day? I think we're going to have a larger absenteeism during that time than what you explained. I would also recommend, it seems to me like you want to add some things in there due to some feedback we got now and a lot of emails you've been receiving. So if we put this vote off till next month, and you can make all those changes and see what that public outcry is about, maybe it would be beneficial to everyone involved. Well, I mean, that's just my opinion.
I think if the board is inclined to vote it down, then I will take feedback, and whatever the wishes of the board are, which receive feedback from the community, I will certainly make adjustments. So that,
We can also, before we go to vote on it, we can modify the motion to add those dates, and then we're voting on the calendar with the modifications that were discussed this evening.
Yeah, but I don't think he can do much about modifying coming back before
I
Labor
don't
Day.
think that's on the table.
it's whatever the feedback is, I'm willing to take it.
That's actually what I was going to ask, like if there are simple modifications for the calendar, besides just adding those holidays, but like actual date changes, are those able to be done during the meeting where like, if we said, like, is it possible to do this instead of that? Because I feel like those would be more, I guess, major changes than what was put out there for the community.
Yeah, I mean, if there are changes that require me to try and identify another graduation date or something like that, that's not something I do on the table, while we're sitting here. If there are other things that could be tweaked that we don't need to verify with an outside source or something like that, I'm okay with moving forward with something like that. But in terms of just adding those days and things, that's a very simple task that we can do.
I think we should just follow the process, and
Yep.
when it's time to vote, we can have a discussion. Okay, any other members of the public wishing to comment on agenda items only? Okay. All right, seeing none, the next item on our agenda is the Assistant Superintendent's report. And the Superintendent's report.
Thank you. So just wanted to highlight, because our student board member does amazing things. She's kind of beginning to highlight all the things I used to speak about in my assistant super report. But we do have some significant music-related things going on. So we want to extend our congratulations and best wishes to the Monroe Township music educators and students who are representing the district in the 2026 NJMEA, which is New Jersey Music Educators Association Conference in Atlantic City this week. Several of our staff members have been selected to present professional development sessions for music educators from across the state. This is their statewide conference. So we have Nina Schmetterer and Lisa Constantino. They're presenting Travel for a Purpose, Grant Writing to Enhance Your Music Classroom. Chris Giorello will be presenting Common Clarinet, Conundrums, and Cures. And Mr. Miralda and Tiana Zarelli will be presenting Beyond the School Day, Strengthening and Growing Programs Through Authentic Arts Enrichment. So we're really proud of those staff members who were selected and recognized as leaders in music education at the state level. Additionally, our MTMS Chamber Singers, under the direction of Ms. Schmetterer, successfully auditioned and will perform at the conference on Friday, February 20th at 12:45 p.m. And we also congratulate 11 talented high school students who earned placement in the 2026 All-State Wind Ensemble, Symphonic Band, and Treble Chorus. The students will rehearse and perform at Atlantic City this week and will conclude their experience with a performance on Sunday at the historic New Jersey Performing Arts Center in Newark. So we wish luck to all the students and staff involved in their presentations, both student presentations and staff development, and representing our district. So it's recommended that the board approve under personal items, 10-member vote, items A through U.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion.
Mr.
Second.
Piero, second by Mr. Zeichner. Any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Marazine?
Yes.
Dr. Peck?
Yes.
Mr. Piero?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, however, recuse on R16 for Mr. Ratner.
Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
It's recommended that the board approve under personnel items, 9-member vote, items V through AZ. V through AZ.
Is there a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Ratner, second by Mr. Piero. Any questions or comments? Ms. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Marazine?
Yes.
Mr. Piero?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, recuse on, sorry, recuse on AX 10 for Mr. Ratner.
Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Under board action, 10-member vote, it's recommended that the board approve the attached board action items A through N with the calendar changes that I had noted before in terms of adding those holidays that we are missing.
Okay. Should we read those into the record? I think I wrote them down somewhere.
Yep, so I'm going to add Yom Kippur,
Okay.
Diwali, Eid al-Adha, as well as Columbus Day.
Any questions or comments?
Do we have any solution for the Labor Day?
It's staying as is, right?
In terms of my recommendation right now, we can open up for discussion once the motion's made.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ms. Ratner,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Zeichner. Ms. Ratner?
So I know that we have had a lot of feedback regarding the calendar sent us over really just the last 2 days, and this has been something that we discussed last year as well, that there's not a lot of time for our community to look at the calendar and provide feedback. Dr. Lehman, I do give you credit. I know that you had reached out to people and that you were trying to accommodate, and so I know it's not an easy task to do, and I know that ultimately there are going to be people that are happy, there are people that are unhappy. But I did read through each of the emails that were sent to us, and we got several from staff members, we got several from parents with students in the district, and I feel like as a board member, our responsibility is to represent the community that has elected us, as well as ensure that those people that are working with our students feel that what we are giving them, providing them with in terms of this calendar will be the best for all of them. And, given like just some of the suggestions that were in there, I know that some of these are more substantive changes that can be made tonight. I did look at other districts. A lot of them are starting before Labor Day this year. So, I know you had looked around as well. But, one thing that, like, when looking around, I had noticed was that most of those districts that are starting before Labor Day are also getting out much earlier. And so, and for those districts that are not doing that, like I think it's Marlborough had added in the week for November this year. And so I think it's those, like the combination of those three things that is, a big concern. And that's not even taking into account everything on social media, which, there has been a lot. And again, you have people on all sides of the argument. But, looking at from our official board perspective, right, these teachers who had, suggested like the concerns with Columbus Day and Veterans Day plus the extra snow days. And, the data that was provided was before people became accustomed to having that schedule. And so I feel like, and again, this is something that I said last year, so this is not
Is there a
you.
motion?
But, well, I mean, I can motion to table it, but then I also feel like just it's important to hear the feedback as to why. So some of the feedback was that for those 2 days, Columbus Day and Veterans Day, the students have often, I know that we had people who had discussed that, but there are teachers who also, observe Columbus Day. And whereas Juneteenth, which I also understand has been an ask, is fully off for both, but that's also very close to finals. As far as the week in November, I know that one of the concerns brought up has been childcare, right? Because then people need to find childcare for that entire week. But, and this is coming from a parent who sent this email, because, I have my personal opinions, both of me up here, I'm a board member, and so I'm trying to share what the community has brought to us, right? And they said that, there is instructional disruption, which is something like I've mentioned, attending school only on Monday and Wednesday, right? So a kid going in Monday, off Tuesday, in Wednesday, off Thursday, Friday, it really, just what they said is destroys classroom momentum and student engagement. Or you may have students that then are not present, which then creates a more challenging situation for them to catch up or for students to be able to, or for parents to find childcare for that, whereas they may just use a vacation week. And so ultimately, we all receive the emails. I can make a motion to table this. I don't know if we can make motions to change things like that. So, I also don't really love the idea of tabling this because then we're not getting counted to the end of March. So I'm not really, we can also just vote as we feel is best based on, the information we have. So
So you're going to make a motion?
I don't really want to make that motion to table it. I did just want to say the other thing is the holidays, which is something that I've brought up in the past. I feel like no matter what, we will always be leaving out somebody's holiday. And so this is something that I believe Woodbridge and Piscataway had done, and this is something I think we could change, would be to not necessarily have the holidays on the calendar, but then, perhaps have a second page that lists all of this approved holidays from the state. And this way, they're still all there, people are getting them, but, if somebody celebrates Chinese New Year, if somebody celebrates another holiday, Ash Wednesday was today, I didn't even realize that, then they're still able to see those holidays. So that was another point of feedback that was brought up to me. But I don't know how to make all of these into a motion, it's really more feedback. So that's most of what I had to say.
Any other questions or comments?
So I just don't understand. So are we supposed to, we're not going to change the calendar at all?
The only thing that we're voting on right now, that Dr. Lehman read into the record, is to note the names of the holidays.
Okay.
That's the only change we're voting on right now.
Okay.
Question?
But just to be clear, Ms. Forst, the motion is to approve the calendar as it appears in your agenda with Dr. Lehman's additions. So a yes vote.
And that's it, and then it's done.
A yes vote would approve the calendar as it's in your agenda, plus the additions that Dr. Lehman just mentioned.
Okay. Roll call, Ms. Allen?
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Forst?
Yes.
Mr. Marzine?
Yes to all, no on L.
Dr. Peck?
Yes to all, no on L.
Mr. Pirro?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes to all, recuse on letter A for Mr. Snyder, and no on letter L for the school calendar.
Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes to all, no on L.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Okay, so we have five. So motion passes.
It's recommended by the board, or that the board approve under board action, nine-member vote, action items O through S. O through S.
Anybody?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Tufano.
Second.
Second by Mr. Marazine. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, Ms. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Marazine?
Yes.
Mr. Pirro?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, recuse on letters O and P for Mr. Ratner.
Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay. Did you want?
We're going to take a short 5-minute recess. Do I have to hit this thing? Okay. Thank you for your patience. This is my first time running a meeting. I didn't know that we needed to motion to recess. Mr. Weiss needed a couple minutes, so we're ready to move forward.
Great, and thank you. What I'm going to do is, since there's a bill list item that deals with Dr. Chanley, I'm just going to read the doctrine of necessity. Whereas Dr. Shari Chanley serves in the capacity of superintendent for the 25-26 school year, and whereas the board must consider certain financial matters concerning Dr. Chanley's employment, and whereas upon review of the various conflicts of interest of the current board members, it has been determined that 6 of the members have conflicts of interest pursuant to the New Jersey School Ethics Act. Whereas pursuant to policy 0163, when a quorum of the board has conflicted interests, the doctrine of necessity may be invoked in order to allow conflicted board members to participate and vote only when the Board of Education has fewer non-conflicted board members than are required pursuant to statute to take action. And whereas when invoking the doctrine of necessity, the board shall state publicly that it is invoking the doctrine of necessity with the reasons for doing so and the specific nature of the conflicts of interest. And whereas the board policy further provides that it shall read the resolution invoking the doctrine of necessity at a regularly scheduled public meeting, post the notice of the resolution for 30 days, and provide the School Ethics Commission with a copy of the resolution. And whereas the School Ethics Act, NJSA 18A-12-21, was enacted by the New Jersey State Legislature to ensure and preserve public confidence in school board members and school administrators, and to provide specific ethical standards to guide their conduct. And whereas the School Ethics Commission has provided guidance regarding the invocation of the doctrine of necessity when a quorum of the Board of Education is not available because members of the Board of Education have conflicts of interest on a matter required to be discussed and voted upon. And whereas the board intends to vote this evening on financial matters related to Dr. Chanley, whereas the members of the board that have conflicts of interest that would prevent their participation and vote on matters related to Dr. Chanley are as follows: Carmen Alvarez, Gail DePayne, Peter Pirro, Usha Sharma, and Charles Zeichner are involved in litigation with Dr. Chanley, and Kate Ratner's husband, David, is a teacher employed by the board. Whereas, as a result of the foregoing, the board does not have a quorum to consider and vote on the financial matters related to Dr. Chanley's employment, and the board's counsel and the board have determined that it is necessary to invoke the doctrine of necessity. Now therefore be it resolved that the above paragraphs are incorporated by reference, and be it further resolved that the doctrine of necessity is hereby invoked with respect to the board's public votes related to Dr. Chanley, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution, having been read at a public meeting of the board on February 18th, 2025, be posted in accordance with the board's standard procedures for not less than 30 days, and that the board secretary reflect the same in the minutes of the meeting, and be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be provided to the School Ethics Commission. Can I get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Tufano,
Second.
second by Mr. Marazine.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Tufano.
Mr. Weiss, I would like for you, if you don't mind, to give the same legal advice you gave this board in previous conversation about our obligation as a board to pay legal bills that we are contractually obligated to pay.
Yeah, Mr. Tufano, I appreciate your question. The fact, though, is that we're now out in public, and I'm not going to provide the advice that I gave to this board in a public forum, but I certainly appreciate your sentiments.
Any questions or comments? Ms. Ratner?
Oh, not on the doctrine, I apologize.
No. Oh, wait.
We need to vote.
Okay.
Ready?
We had a motion in a second.
Yes, we
right?
did.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Ms. Allen?
Yep. Ms. Alvarez?
Okay, yes to all, recuse on 13409.
This is the doctrine or something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I just went 60 seconds.
Okay, yes.
Yep. Okay. Ms. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Marazine?
Yes.
Dr. Peck?
Yes.
Mr. Pirro?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the Business Administrator's Report. Ms. Allen?
Yes, it is recommended that board action items A through L, under the 10-member vote, be approved by consent roll call.
Is there a motion?
Motion?
Motion, I have a
Mrs.
question.
Ratner, second by Mr. Tufano? Yes? Okay. Mr. Tufano, you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to ask you, on A2, can someone explain to me what the living room at Princeton is?
It is for special education student.
Okay. So we have a
Related
student that
service.
attends that? Okay, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Mrs. Ratner?
Yep. I have two quick questions. The first is letter G. It says the previously submitted grant of $45,000 if awarded. Is this just to submit the grant application, or is this approving it so that if we get it, we're able to take action with it?
Submitting of the application. We have not been awarded the grant yet.
Okay. And then just my other question, I saw along the bill is a lot of checks for like Home News Tribune and things like that, and I know that we've been required to do it a certain way, and if I remember, the law is changing on that, and so I just wasn't sure when that takes effect, and if, especially because we're, with the meeting date changes, if there's going to be a change, and then how we have to provide this to the public.
Do you,
You want to take it?
no, do you have the date?
I don't have the date.
I don't either.
I don't have the date.
Because I
but
thought it was March 1st, which is like,
It's very soon, but.
Yeah.
But there's a requirement that boards publish notices for, it's a consistent period of time prior to kind of the cutoff.
Yep.
So for now, there will be public notices that are going to be in the newspapers, but that will be ending, I believe it's sometime in March.
okay.
So that's what those fees might have been for. like,
No,
kind of
those
the
were
last
for
time.
before, but
Yep.
because of the changes in our meeting dates, I did not know if then that's going to be during that transitional period.
I have to look at the date. It could be, but,
Yeah, we'll
you know,
check it.
we'll check and we'll notice appropriately.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Ms. Allen?
Okay, so, Ms. Alvarez.
Okay, yes to all, recuse on 13409, 14218, and 14177. Or abstain, I'm sorry.
Okay. Ms. Forrest?
Yes, and no to check number 13409, 14177, and 14218.
Okay. Mr. Marazine?
Yes to all.
Okay. Dr. Peck?
Yes to all.
Mr. Pirro?
I am no to 13409. I have to recuse on 13414, I'm a no on 14177, and no on 14218.
Okay. Ms. Ratner?
I need to recuse on 14218, 13409, 13414, 14000, 14052, 13919, 13874, and 14177.
Okay. Ms. Sharma?
Yes for all and no for 13409, 14177, and 14218.
Okay. Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes, except for 13409, 14177, and 14218.
Okay, so motion passes except for check number 13409 and 14218 and 14177. Okay. It is recommended that board action items M through N under the 9-member vote be approved by consent roll call.
Motion? A motion by Ms. Ratner. Any second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Pirro. Any questions or comments? Mrs. Ratner?
I just wanted to thank one of our residents for a donation to the middle school. So thank you very much.
Okay, Ms. Allen?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. Forrest?
Yes.
Mr. Marzine?
Yes.
Mr. Pirro?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms.
Recuse on letter N.
I'm sorry. Yes?
Recuse, yes to all, recuse on letter N.
Okay. Ms. Sharma?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Motion passes. And that concludes my report.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is the board president's report, but she did not provide me with something to read, so we're going to move on to other board business. Any members of the board? Mr. Tufano?
Yes, I have another question for our attorney. Hypothetically speaking, if a board who is contractually obligated to pay someone's legal bills doesn't pay them, what would be the consequences to that action?
It would
Or
be,
lack of.
it would most likely be a lawsuit to try and collect.
Okay, thank you.
I have a follow-up question. Is it our duty to do that as a board member?
Is it your duty to do what?
Follow what the contract says?
To the extent that you're involved in a contract, yes, you'd be obligated. I'm assuming that if it's a valid contract, both parties would be obligated to perform both of their obligations pursuant to the terms of the contract.
And let's say I voted yes today, and the next month I just changed my mind, I could just vote no on that contract, just do whatever I could do?
You can absolutely always vote however your heart and mind tell you to vote.
Okay.
I have another question. In your legal opinion, if somebody votes no on something they're contractually obligated to pay for, could there be huge ramifications financially to that vote?
Anything is possible. I really, hypotheticals are not really where we want to be right now.
Well, we don't want
I
to,
understand.
we don't want to tell the public what we discuss in closed session, so I'm trying to word it in a way that's possible.
And I think the public
For an
can
answer.
glean that from what you're saying.
Right. So there is a chance that this board and this school district could be sued for an excessive amount of money because we're voting no on something, well, some people are voting no on some things that we're contractually obligated to vote yes for.
To the extent that the district...
Hypothetically.
Yeah, hypothetically, of course.
Okay.
To the extent that the district is obligated to pay something and they don't pay something that's owed, the district will have a problem.
Thank you. I rest my case, Your Honor.
I would just like to make a comment that it's difficult to sometimes vote when you have questions that you can't ask. Ms. Ratner?
What do we ask? Is Ms.
No, we're
Chanley's
conflicted.
contract contractually?
Ms. Ratner?
We can't.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, we can. She's been riced.
No, she.
No,
Ms.
no,
Ratner.
Yes, she's been riced.
But not for-
So we can ask that question. So
Not
I'd like
in- not
to
in
make a
public.
motion. I would like to ask the question, is Ms. Chanley's contract specifically written where her legal fees are supposed to be paid by the board?
I'm not going to answer that accurately.
Well, that's not really, that's
But you're
not
asking me-
acceptable answer.
you're
Is
asking-
her contract, which is of course public knowledge, her contract, is it in her contract that her legal fees must be paid for if she's put on administrative leave?
The language of the contract speaks for itself.
Thank you.
And I've given the board my position on it.
Thank you.
Ms. Ratner?
Go ahead.
I didn't see
It's
your
something
hand, Ms.
different,
Forst.
so-
Ms. Forst, I didn't see your hand.
Okay, so I just wanted to say that I just completed a few weeks ago Governance 1. It was eye-opening, and I just want to say that was emphasized in each session, regardless of the topic, was decorum and confidentiality. So I understand and I empathize with the public because I was on that side before, but according to everything that I learned, we are not allowed to discuss certain things. We are not allowed to provide information. We're not even allowed to engage or comment or anything under what I was trained. I mean, I didn't realize how much confidentiality was really emphasized in everything. You know, unfortunately, that's what we're bound by. And we are bound by a higher ethical standard than any other elected official. And that's it. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to comment or have opinions or discuss anything. Yeah, I mean, and I get it, you know, but we're just not allowed to.
Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else wishing to speak? Ms. Ratner?
Yes, just changing topics for a minute. I just wanted to share that I had the honor of attending the Ramadan lighting over the weekend along with Mr. Zeichner and Mr. Marazine. It was a fantastic event. You know, I think this is their second time doing it, and it's really nice to hear about, you know, all the different diversity that's in our township. They also served really good chai while we were sitting there because it was pretty cold, which I enjoyed very much, even though apparently I spilled it all over my jacket. But that's besides the point. It was really good. And so I also did just want to share that I'm looking forward to reading to some of the classes at some of our elementary schools in a couple of weeks, which will be either way, whether the meeting changes or not, before the next meeting. If you haven't had the opportunity to do it, it's really one of my favorite things to do as a board. So I'd recommend, if you can, try and get over there and read wherever we're invited to do. And then the other thing was I had gotten notification that there's a lot of training that school boards offers, but in the spring they have something called the Spring Symposium, which is essentially like a mini workshop. So the workshop is the one that's over multiple days in the fall. If you are looking for more opportunities to learn about different things, then that's definitely a great opportunity. So I'd recommend definitely checking it out if you can. And that's all.
Thank you, Mrs. Ratner. Mr. Zeichner?
Yeah, I just want to also mention, I wasn't sure, did you also add Dr. Lehman's name to that?
And Dr. Lehman, and actually also Mr. Meralda.
Right.
So,
Right.
yes.
I don't know, did we forget anything?
And Ms. Trust.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
I think I got everybody now.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure we get them all. Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Marazine.
I have just two things. Dr. Lehman mentioned about the NJMEA conference that we're very involved in. I just wanted to point out that the music supervisor, Mr. Seidner, I'm saying that right?
Snyder.
Snyder. He's actually the NJMEA president, and he's down there representing us as well. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, it's my understanding there's an incident with a bus. I don't want to say accident. I guess it was an accident, but we'll say whatever. Incident with a bus. That being said, I've received a lot of feedback in my email from people, asking questions about that. And at this time, I would like to make a motion for an independent investigation regarding the February 3rd bus incident.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Marazine, second by Mr. Tufano. Questions, comments?
My
Yes.
understanding is there is an investigation.
We're not.
We gotta be real careful here.
We cannot talk
Yes.
about this. Okay.
We had a closed session discussion.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of went through it all, but to the extent that this motion is out there, I would just caution the board, because of the issues that we discussed inside, you can certainly, call your vote. I think you'd need someone to put in there for the appointment. But you could certainly go ahead with the vote. It's just the effect of the vote I have questions about. Specifically, who are we appointing? How much? Do we have any information?
Mr. Marazine? Do you have any?
I think we would follow suit from what has been done in the past, where you would, Mr. Weiss, give a recommendation of attorneys.
That's,
We can go into closed session, but we're limited as to what we can say out here.
Ms. Ratner, you have a question, comment?
I just, given the information that's been provided, it's hard to sort of know who is being,
I would suggest that we pause this for a moment, go into executive session to discuss this issue, and then come out and we can address it.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session to discuss, for the purpose of discussing the motion on the table.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Ratner, second by Mr. Tufano. Questions, comments, discussion? Is there a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
No, based on what we heard, I don't feel the need.
Ms. Forrest?
To go into closed session further to discuss it.
We're going to close.
Yes.
No, did you say no?
No, she said yes.
Oh, yes, okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Marazine?
Yes.
Dr. Peck? Yes. Mr. Pirro?
No.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Sharma?
No.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Zeichner?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes to go into closed session.
Okay, the board's going to take a recess to enter
The
executive.
board will be in closed session for approximately 20 minutes to receive attorney-client advice.
Okay, the board is back from executive session, so we are opening the meeting now to the public.
Motion to return to public session?
You have a motion on the table,
Okay.
so we have to pick up with that motion.
Yeah, he said it.
I just didn't know because
Okay, so there's a motion on the table.
I'm going to table the motion for now and defer to the attorney.
Wait.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
No, Mr. Marazine, you can either withdraw the motion or we can move forward
With the vote.
with the vote on the motion to table.
I'm going to withdraw and make a motion to table.
One or the
One
other.
or the other.
One or the other.
I'll make a motion to table.
Is there a second?
No, there's a motion to table on the floor. So if he's not withdrawing his motion, the vote should proceed with the motion to table.
Do I need a second?
Can we get point of clarification? You said withdraw and end motion. So are you withdrawing the motion or are you making the motion?
I'm going to withdraw the motion for now.
Okay.
Okay, so then the motion to table has been withdrawn. So now do we have a motion to, what, appoint? Are you withdrawing that motion?
Yes.
Okay,
So there's no motion.
so there's no motion now because it's
Okay.
been withdrawn.
Okay.
Okay, so is there a motion to reopen the meeting?
I make a motion to reopen.
No? Not
Second.
yet? Oh, wait,
You're
sorry.
already reopened.
Go ahead.
You're already opened.
I did already.
Okay.
Somebody said, okay.
Come on, Gail.
Okay, is there a motion for the,
No, you don't need a
oh,
motion.
no. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, guys, this is my first time, right? You ladies out there, you know, okay? Okay, Mr. Weiss would like to read a statement for the public.
Okay, members of the public, for those of you who are here and at home, the Board of Education wishes to express that its thoughts are with the student who was involved in the bus incident and their family at this time. The health, safety, and welfare of every child entrusted to the district's care is and will always be the board's highest priority. The board recognizes the impact that this event has had on its students, staff, and the broader Monroe community. The board understands that there is a public desire for answers and further information. However, this is now a legal matter. The district will conduct a thorough internal investigation and will continue to cooperate fully with local law enforcement to ensure a complete and accurate understanding of the facts. To protect the integrity of the district's investigations and to respect the privacy of the individuals involved, the board will not be issuing any further statements or answering specific questions regarding the incident at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weiss. Moving along, the next item on the agenda is our second public forum. Any members of the public wishing to speak can do so now. You will have 4 minutes.
Hey, good evening. Mike Weiner at 9 Sequoia Court. I came here tonight because I wanted to speak about a couple issues I had with grades with my kids. So I experienced some great issues with grade books over the last couple of years, and that led me to asking a general question, which was, do we have any policies that dictate either the number of assignments that should be in a grade book for a marking period, or do we have any policies that dictate how many assignments should be in a category for a marking period? So I emailed a few people, guidance counselor, vice principal at the middle school, principal at the middle school. Unfortunately, I didn't get an answer from anyone, which is, to be honest with you, extremely disappointing that they would ignore my email. I'm not, you know, that's another story and another comment for another time. But I ended up reaching out to Dr. Lehman, and he was nice enough to give me some of his time to discuss some of these issues, among other things that I came across. And what I found out is that we don't have policies that dictate this. So we have policies that dictate that there's categories for the grade book, and there's percentages for those categories, which I understand. I'm a teacher myself with over 20 years experience. But there's no policies that dictate how many assignments for a marking period or how many assignments should be in a category. I came here tonight to implore all of you to address this in some way. I mean, I really feel strongly that we need some kind of policy that guides the teachers in terms of, again, how many grades, what's the minimum amount of grades we want to see for a marking period, and what should the minimum number of grades be in a particular category. The reason that I feel strongly about this, and I'm going to say I'm speaking for my wife on this too, who's also a teacher with numerous years of experience, you know, simply speaking, without a policy like this, it's tough to have consistency class to class, to be honest with you, because you have some teachers who have numerous grades in their grade book. You have other teachers who have what seems like a minimum number of grades. And there's also situations, and this is really what got me started on this journey of asking this question. I've come across situations where there's classes where we'll have a category like summative assessment, and that's worth 40%, and there's 1 grade in that category. I mean, that's ridiculous. That means that that one assignment is counting for 40% of the kid's marking period grade. On top of that, not only does it count for 40%, but in no way, shape, or form have I, as a parent, ever been notified by a teacher saying, hey, heads up, we're having this assessment and it's worth 40%. If I knew that, if I had a heads up about that and I knew that my child was going to be taking an assessment that was worth that much, obviously I would go out of my way to make sure they're prepared for it. But we don't even have that opportunity. So it's been somewhat frustrating, to be honest with you, and I'm surprised that we don't have these policies. My school district that I work at has several policies that govern this. Ours, I believe, is that no assignment can be worth more than the quarterly exam, which is 15%. So any assignment I have in my grade book has to be worth 14% or less. And again, that's just a general policy that kind of makes it easy for teachers to, guide where they want to go with their grade book. So again, I was just surprised that we didn't have policies about that. I'm experiencing a lot of frustrations with that in terms of my kids' experience in the school, and I wanted to implore you guys to address that in some way and create these policies to help guide the teachers. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your feedback.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Hello, my name is Ganesh Masla, address 283 Morning Glory. So I know I have been coming to the board meetings last year also about to ask about Dr. Chanley. I don't know what's the status on it. I was reading the board minutes from last few months, and I think it's still under investigation. So I have a few questions for the board, like what is the plan for reinstating her back to the board, and until now, what investigation have been done on the board? How long will it take more for the board for the investigation? How much fees we have spent until now on the investigation, and what's the plan to get her back?
We cannot discuss personnel matters in public.
No, she is suspended from she is on leave from May, right? From last year. So I want to know how much we have, as a taxpayer, I just want to know how much we have spent on it.
You can email Ms. Allen. She can give you that information.
Okay.
She's our business administrator.
And I want to know, like, how much time you have spent on it till now. At least you can say that, right? From how long this investigation is going on?
Excuse me, thank you.
You can say when we voted on it, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember the month.
You'd have to check the minutes.
6 months, 8 months?
I would have to check the minutes and get back to you to
No,
see which
6 months,
month
8
we
months.
voted to conduct the investigation.
Yeah, at least like a ballpark, like 7, 8 months, whatever, right? Because I was here in September, I think, probably like in September or something, and I readed the same thing, but I think the board hasn't got anything. I didn't get any reply on that forum when I asked, and after that also, I didn't see anything in the minutes yet. I mean, you can email, but I want an answer on this forum, right? That, okay, there's an investigation going on. We are about to conclude or something. I mean, you cannot just say it will be sent email. I want it on the forum itself here, whatever information you have.
I'm sorry, we already answered your question. We will give you the information when we voted to conduct the investigation, but in terms of discussing personnel matters,
It's not personal matter. How
how
can it be personal
long, where
matter?
we're
I don't
at
get
in the
that.
process, that cannot be discussed in public.
But how long, I mean, why it's personal matter? I'm talking about what is from the
We're
board.
discussing somebody's employment publicly. It's not allowed.
It's not allowed? But as a taxpayer who is paying for it, yeah, I cannot get that question answered. I mean, it's so crazy. Like, what is the precedence we are setting up to future superintendents, right? Who is going to come to Monroe tomorrow, and with this, whatever is happening, I think whatever investigation, right? It's not like rocket science. You do something, and then we have lawyers here. We are paying for it, and then there should be a result, right? You cannot just take like in a year, you're still paying for the superintendent. The district is paying, the taxpayer is paying, and you just say that, you know what, there will be email answer to me. That's so crazy. So I want whatever thing, right, whatever you want to write, put that in the minutes of meeting. So that next time, at least if you say that, you know what, you cannot answer them, write that in the minutes of meeting next time. At least I know that everybody will know, okay, this is what the board is up to. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members wishing to speak?
Good evening again, Chrissy Skirby, Monroe. Ms. Allen, if you could bring that number of how much money we've spent on the investigation to next month's meeting, I think this gentleman should get an answer publicly to that. And I'm in disbelief of what I see here, the lack of transparency, the lack of caring about our students, our staff. We heard from Ms. Ratner, you had multiple staff members, multiple parents writing in about the calendar, and you just approve it. Thank you to those who voted no, because at least you're standing up for the parents and the staff members, the people who voted you in to look out for them and to be their voice. Thank you. And Mr. Marazine, I don't know what went on in closed session, but I applaud you for making a motion to do an independent investigation into that bus accident. I don't know how you're going to do an internal investigation. Who's going to lead that? The people that were responsible to make sure that protocols were followed? That's not how you do an investigation. Just like you did to Dr. Chanley when there was no reason to put her out on administrative leave. Here you have a child who was hit by a bus that this district wanted to deny happened until the mother went and found the video and then supplied it to you guys. You were trying to tell a 6th grade student she lied about being hit by a bus. How would any of you feel if it was your child? And now you don't want to do an internal investigation into what took place? It really is appalling and disappointing. I'd like to ask also, why was there no budget philosophy meeting? What is the budget philosophy this year? Ms. Allen, are you going out to maximum spending authority, or are you doing whatever you want? Because we've always, in this district, always, except for this year, had a budget philosophy meeting where the board members and the public had a voice to say what they wanted to see in the budget. What programs did we absolutely want? What programs would we agree to exceed the 2% cap for? Would we direct the administration to go to maximum spending authority? Would we ask them not to go to maximum spending authority for the sake of the taxpayers? You did not have a budget philosophy meeting. How are you creating a budget? Based on what feedback? Not from the public. You've taken the public's voice away, and you sit here and say, well, we don't know if we're going to have full-day kindergarten. Well, we don't know. We have to see what the budget says. But if the board said we want full-day K in that budget, it would be in the budget. And you would know the parameters to make that happen. But you didn't. You didn't ask the board what they want to see. Make a decision, full-day kindergarten or not. We're at the end of February. Parents are signing their children up for other programs. Make a decision. Are we having it or are we not? But stop with this flip-flopping, and please, God, don't have another referendum, because it's a waste of money, because we know it's going to fail. We had a referendum for $2.5 million to keep courtesy busing, and I think it passed by what, Ghazala, 200 votes? You want to have a $20 million referendum? When you sat here and told us we can fit all the children in the building. Oak Tree is at a record low attendance. Oak Tree School operated with 1,000 students in the building at one point. What is it now, 550? You can have full-day kindergarten. You don't need a referendum. You don't need to add on to the buildings.
Any other members of the public wishing to speak?
Hello, everybody. I just wanted to come and represent the, well, not represent, I won't say that, but I wanted to say that as a member of the video production
Can you
group,
state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Robert McGuire, and I'm live in Monroe. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I'm part of the video production group and classes in our school. I'm in video production 3 right now, and I love that program. It's one of my favorite things, if not my favorite thing I've done in my entire school career at Monroe. And I just was wondering why it is not considered an art class, because what do you call it? Video production is not just like about, hey, this is how a camera works. It's about, here are different angles, here are different forms of lighting, here are different things that we see in media and in film today. And we come in here every month and make you guys look pretty on camera, and we do countless projects and countless competitions throughout the year, depending on what class you're in. And we produce impressive work, I feel like. And not only that, but film is one of the most impressive arts, if not the most impressive art, in my opinion, that I've ever seen. It can move you in ways that are indescribable, and I feel like that is insanely underestimated by not having it as considered an art class. So I'd ask, why isn't it an art class, and is there methods that we can go through to make it become an art elective instead of just an elective that is taken?
So I can give you a pretty general answer, some specifics, and then we can certainly dive into the details at a future time. But in high school, classes are siloed based on graduation requirements and which classes fit which category in terms of what counts towards what. And in this case, technology education, the teacher's certificate is aligned with the category in which the class falls into. And some courses, depending on what the instructor certification is, could be in one location or another. So in terms of the placement and the location of that class, that's why it's categorized where it is right now. It can certainly be more complicated than that, but in terms of where the funnel it fits into, it's in that funnel right now, and that's why it counts towards those electives credits towards your graduation. If it was in an art category, it would count towards those elective credits, and you would have to find another course that would meet. And granted, you've taken a bunch of them, so you're not worried about hitting those electives, but certain students find a niche in different areas, and they target different classes to meet those graduation requirements.
Yeah. So is there a way to change which, in your terms, funnel it was in? Because, and I'm not, I don't want to say, I want to make it clear, I'm not, representative of everybody that's in video production. This is just my own opinion. But, I just think that it's, an injustice almost to, the type of product that, comes out of the class.
I hear that. I think if, in terms of the realignment of that would be a significant change, because you have students planning multiple years. I'm going to take this course to hit this requirement at this timeline and things like that. On occasion, we would pivot a course here or there, depending on either replacement of a staff member with new certificates or the changing of an entire department or program and fitting things and realigning programs. I would say reclassifying that as an art class is not on our radar right now. It's not on the table. And if it were to be, it would certainly be almost like a phasing in piece, allowing students that are tracked to potentially have that course to meet a requirement, have other courses, time to weave in other courses as a part of their plan. Okay. So.
All right, thank you. I just was curious. All right. Yep. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Ghazala Bora, Monroe Township. Sorry, I didn't do it before. I'm getting back in the groove. I want to answer the taxpayer's question. It's public information. Investigation started in September. We've been investigating for 6 months, and as per public bill list, I believe we've paid close to $15,000. And I would like to urge Mr. Zeichner, for the other gentleman that came here about the concern with the assessments and a policy, I feel like this could be a curriculum committee public discussion so that the public understands how we are, how the teachers have a standard to follow. And if that could be taken up in the curriculum committee, that would be great. Dr. Lehman, after I'm done with my 3.5 minutes. If you could address my question in the email about why we have additional PD days in this year's calendar than previous year. The main reason I am using the second forum is to talk about kindergarten, full-day kindergarten. From speaking to the amazing educators in this town, I know everybody is behind the full-day kindergarten, and they're all set, and they can really hit the ground running in September. All the 3 building principals of that, of where they'll be starting full-day K are ready, and whatever compromises need to be made or whatever adjustments need to be made, they're ready. So I feel like now the onus is on this board, and I had spoken to Ms. DePayne in length about this. The board needs to make sure that when this budget is put together, you're comparing line item for line item between last year and this year to see what is changing and how are we fitting that program in. That's not the administration's. The administration is trying to make something happen that the board asked for. Our job, sorry, not mine anymore, but your job as board members is to see that another program does not suffer because of this. And that is why I'd been asking for this to be brought up in a finance committee. There's still time. I know the state aid numbers are going to come in later, and I hope they stay the same. And based on that, the administration has planned out the budget to fit in the full-day kindergarten. But our diligence, the board's diligence, is important for the taxpayers, and that needs to be done. Another ask for this conversation is the 3 building principals that are making it happen. I hope that they can come and speak either at a public meeting or at a building ground meeting to share with the taxpayers how they're going to make it happen, to answer the question that people like me have. All these years we couldn't do it. How all of a sudden are we doing it? We didn't get a big cash inflow. We didn't create more space, that much more spaces in our building. And what I'm getting to is that there is a referendum in the future for kindergarten. I do not agree with Ms. Kirby that we can continue to provide the best quality of education in our elementary schools, because I know music and art and all of these extras are going to get impacted. But if we want to make a valid case for the town to put in more money, I know it's an unfair ask for the town, but if we are going to have to make that ask to make that program complete, then those building principals are the ones that are going to convince these taxpayers that, yes, we are making it happen right now, but it's not a perfect scenario. Perfect scenario will be one in which we can build the infrastructure to support all the programs, not just have the kids in the building with a bathroom and then manage other things on a cart. So my ask is that, and this is not the administration's job, this is the elected officials' job. So I hope all of you hear me and will do your due diligence for this full-day kindergarten to become a real success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bora. You know that probably mostly everyone at this table is all for full-day kindergarten. So yes, we're all on the same page. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to come up to the microphone? Okay, seeing none, our next scheduled Board of Education meeting on the agenda says March 16th. However, there's a possibility it may be moved to March 18th. Oh, I think you said what, outside. I thought I heard you say. Okay, I'm sorry.
So in terms of the staff development days, so the teachers work 184 days, students attend 180 days. We have not fully utilized those full 184 days before. And it's, again, we may run into years in the future where we have the holidays that we recognize during the year, and we may need to leverage some of those PD days as half days, and that's where some of the feedback we got is turn those full day PD days into half days, which then regains days, which is counter to let's have less half days in the calendar, which is some of the other feedback we got. So in terms of staff development days, that the staff will be working 184 days now. Additionally, in response to that, we've had challenges across the board with the staff development. When we're working on half days, we're essentially having 3 to 4 tiers of time slots on a half day. You have the high school window, the middle school window, and then 2 elementary windows. because you have a few elementary schools in one window and a couple in another one. So when it goes to the fidelity of providing the programming for the staff across the board, which we're required to provide them staff development training, and they're required to acquire 20 hours a year, 100 over a course of 5 years. Those days all combined get us there. Now, the challenges we have when they're all half days is if we're looking to run, let's say, an AI course, we have to run 4 individual AI courses to meet the time slots. But additionally, and that's if the buildings that are in the elementary level combine and combine locations. When we run a full day PD day, we can maximize it and run, say, 1. We get everybody cross, whether it's elementary, middle. We have all the elementary schools coming together if they choose to take that. Additionally, we have usually approaching about 100, 120 personalized projects, which means staff members work with their colleagues. Sometimes it's within the building, within a grade level, on curricular-based projects, implementing new, whether it's ELA, math, science, whatever we have rolling out. And they meet in the half-day model. They'll meet in those afternoon sessions. Again, restricted with working with staff within their own building. It has to do with going to lunch, coming back from the lunch, and having about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half to do that work. Having those full-day opportunities allow the staff to interact throughout the district because they're the entire time committed. It's initial about 5.5 hours of time. And we can better address the district-wide programming in terms of our course offering. So on those days, the staff choose to take a course or develop a project. And then additionally, we've noticed staff, and we allow them what's called collaborative planning time. So the staff will engage in planning time where we acquire subs for groups of teachers to work either in the morning or in the afternoon, or sometimes it's a full day. That's pulling them out of the classroom for either a morning or an afternoon. By engaging these 2 full-day PD days and working with the staff to thoroughly and plan out those projects, I'm hoping that the staff won't have to be pulled out of their classroom. We won't have to leverage subs because now they have the time, the large chunk of time that they can leverage, again, for their projects, which is oftentimes building on that work is what they're doing in their collaborative planning. And not always. The collaborative planning time's used for other things as well. But we're also looking to potentially leverage those opportunities as well. So there's a lot of things in place with that, those full-day opportunities.
Dr. Lehman, just a quick question. So obviously the teachers need to have their 20 hours to keep their teacher's certification. But my question is it in the teacher's contract that we're required to provide the 20 hours for them?
So we as a district, over the course of 5 years, they need to gain 100. If we have no staff development days, then we need to provide them opportunities to acquire those credits, and then that incurs sending them out to professional development off-site. Again, getting substitutes, bringing them in, pulling them out of class. So we do have a requirement to provide them opportunities to gather the staff development. Certainly, if they're interested in not engaging in those 4 extra days in some way, shape, or form, we can engage in those conversations, whether it's through their collective bargaining agreement or whatever, but we certainly are leveraging the contract, we're providing those opportunities, and again, we're looking at maximizing the effectiveness of the professional development that we offer.
Thank you, Dr.
Yep.
Lehman. Okay, so on the agenda, it says our next scheduled Board of Education meeting is March 16th. However, we're anticipating that to be moved to March 18th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Tofano, second by Ms. Ratner. All those in favor? Aye. Thank you.